D&D has just revealed the new direction for their brand, but are they paving the path to success or headed for a dead end?
Big question.
Before we dive into the potential pros and cons of the new direction for Dungeons & Dragons, why not take a second to hit those like and subscribe buttons to help us keep these videos coming? It's totally free and it really helps the channel. And then, let's talk some D&D. Dungeons & Dragons recently hired one of the big names behind D&D's digital products, Dan Ayub, to be the new head of the D&D franchise. And with it came his vision of a, quote, franchise model for the TTRPG brand, where everything about D&D is done first-party in-house at Wizards of the Coast. But now he's shed more light on what he calls his new direction for D&D, and while there are a few interesting ideas, a lot of them are sending up more red flags than a Turkish military parade. Ayub's new direction, which he says is aimed at putting Dungeons & Dragons back at your table, which is almost directly contradicted when you consider what a huge component digital platforms for D&D are in this new direction, but more on that later, breaks down into 4 parts. So let's start with the first one, a system that belongs to you. This is basically just D&D doubling down on the weird half edition that is the 2024 rule set while refusing to fully move on from 5e. Ayub once again confirmed that the 2024 rules don't replace the previous 5e rules, and based on how few D&D Beyond users are making 2024 rules characters, the players seem to agree, although maybe not in the way he might hope. But essentially, prepare for several more years of 5e and 2024 D&D trying to coexist as part of this new direction for D&D. Step 2 is a stronger SRD. This one actually seems fine to us. It's just a promise to keep updating the SRD, which is what third-party publishers use when creating their D&D supplements, rulebooks, and more, to make sure it has the most up-to-date D&D 2024 rules and errata. Now, while D&D has made some massive mistakes when updating their third-party publishing rules, as I'm pretty sure we all remember the OGL disaster, the new SRD is released under the Creative Commons, which should prevent anything like that from happening again, as it would be really hard to update the OGL into something like that terrible leaked 1.1 version while the SRD remains in Creative Commons, and we think that keeping the SRD updated as much as possible is probably just a net win for third-party publishers, so this one we actually kind of like. Step 3 is making the maps VTT on D&D Beyond quote-unquote free for all levels of subscribers. This is an interesting one, as making maps available to even free subscribers in D&D Beyond is very helpful, but it also clearly pushes them towards that all-digital future of D&D Beyond and a bunch of microtransactions, as the content required to make maps truly useful would remain paywalled. I.e., there are some free elements on maps that you would get at that free subscriber level, but a lot of the stuff you want will be locked unless you own the relevant books or materials on D&D Beyond. And to truly customize maps and use it for like a full homebrewed campaign, that's all locked behind the Master Tier subscription. So everyone gets a little taste of maps, but only those shelling out the high-end subscription bucks or buying a ton of D&D Beyond products get the full maps experience, which feels like the return of a lot of microtransactions to the future of D&D. And the fourth and final step in the initiative is to bring the community's voice into the decision-making process at D&D. Ayub says that he wants a rotating advisory group of publishers, creators, educators, and fans to help shape future tools, content, and policy for D&D. The downside to this is that while he claims this is not some one-time PR move and will give fans a voice, he has no details on how it would actually work. As he writes, quote, "We're still finalizing the structure and the process," which does very much sound like a one-time PR move thing. Also, Wizards of the Coast tried this before with Magic the Gathering with the Commander Committee, and that ended with the company taking control of the group themselves after part of the community turned incredibly toxic and started issuing death threats against the committee for rulings they didn't like. So a community-led leadership group is no guarantee of quality or success or even independence, as Wizards has shown they have no qualms about simply absorbing control of those groups back into the company if the going gets tough. So while a community voice would be interesting, it will depend heavily on which voices are being heard, and if D&D will do more than just pay lip service to their suggestions and use them as a rubber stamp to push through whatever they wanted to do at the corporate level and claim they have the backing of the community. So all in all, it's very much a mixed bag, If done right, some of this could wind up really helping the game, but if done wrong, it could be another nail in the suddenly appearing coffin for the D&D brand, who is battling through another brutal year of bad PR and missteps. But the question now becomes, who is left at D&D that you would trust to pull off all these steps in the right way? So what do you think? Are you a fan of this new direction for the Dungeons & Dragons brand? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons.